Welcome, everyone, to our conversation on the new changes that affect your first few months on the job. We're diving into how knowing your rights early can really transform your workplace experience.
Absolutely. It's such a crucial topic. I mean, starting a new job can be so nerve-wracking, right?
Exactly. Now, the UK Employment Rights Bill has made a major shift from a 2-year qualifying period to just 6 months for
Yep.
unfair dismissal protection. This means that new employees have a safety net much sooner than before.
6 months, really? That seems like it's providing a sense of security that so many of us needed during those early days.
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. Before, you had to endure almost 2 years under the constant pressure of being viewed as replaceable. Now, after 6 months, if things aren't fair or if you're not receiving proper feedback, you have the power to challenge your dismissal.
Yeah, it's like finally someone saying, hey, we're human. We need support during our growth phase.
It really is.
Mm,
Consider it like starting a challenging course. You need a few weeks to settle in and understand what's expected, not 2 whole years of trial and error before getting any meaningful feedback.
right. And that genuine feedback can make all the difference. Without it, you can feel completely lost, especially when you're new. I remember feeling terrified with every tiny phrase from my boss.
Totally. One snippet from our conversation in the content was, I go home thinking, did I do something wrong? And that kind of mentality can really mess with your confidence.
Exactly. Yeah, that constant uncertainty can be overwhelming. I think many young employees have felt that pinch, wondering if one small mistake means the end of their career right there.
And that's why this bill is so important. It shifts the burden onto the employer to foster a more nurturing work environment from the get-go. Instead of keeping us in a limbo where we're essentially disposable, there's now a clear time frame to expect constructive guidance.
I agree, but let me play devil's advocate for a second. Do you really think 6 months is enough time for some sectors to really assess performance? Sometimes some skills take longer to show.
That's a fair point. However, the idea isn't just to assess performance in that 6 month period. It's to ensure that during those months, you're provided with enough feedback and support so that any shortcomings can be addressed early on. It's like being given a map early
Mm,
enough, rather than getting lost because no one bothered to check in.
I see what you're saying. It's less about judging every move immediately and more about actively engaging with you as you learn the ropes. That definitely sounds like a win-win situation.
Exactly. Employers, listen up. The bill is almost like saying, invest in us because we are your future. When employees feel secure, they're more likely to invest their heart into their role and truly shine.
Right? And for the employees, it's a form of empowerment. When you know you're protected, you can actually ask for help or express concerns without fear.
Right on. One powerful quote from our content was, just talk to us, teach us, help us, don't judge us
Ye-
in silence. That line really encapsulates the spirit of this change.
Yeah, it's so simple yet so profound. It's all about building that trust early on, something we desperately need in these high-pressure environments.
For sure. And then there's the well-being aspect to consider. Feeling like you're constantly under a microscope without any real feedback just ramps up your stress levels.
Mm,
When you have a defined period where protection kicks in, it creates a healthier mindset for both learning and growth.
definitely. When you're too scared to ask questions, your anxiety can shoot up to absurd levels. I mean, everyone just wants to feel like they belong and are contributing in a meaningful way.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the employees either. Employers benefit as well. If you empower your staff early, they're more inclined to be loyal, innovative, and committed to the company.
True. You know, Gen Z workers especially, they really want to make a mark, and they're looking for environments where they can thrive rather than just survive.
Right. This bill essentially sends a dual message. It reassures new starters that after 6 months, fairness isn't optional. It's your right. And it tells employers that if you're not investing in proper onboarding and regular check-ins, you might ultimately lose some great talent.
I like that. It balances responsibility. But Don't you think that sometimes this protection might even make employers a bit hesitant to take on new talent if they feel pressured to manage every detail early on?
That's an interesting take.
Yeah,
While there might be concerns about increased obligations, I believe that, in the long run, fostering a supportive environment creates a more sustainable workforce. Challenges lead to growth rather than just risk management.
yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like investing in a young plant rather than cutting it down as soon as it shows a little weakness. With proper nurturing, it grows strong.
Exactly. And listen, another point made was that this change encourages better onboarding practices. Employers are now incentivized to provide clear expectations, regular feedback, and essentially set you up with a roadmap for success early on.
It sounds like it could really transform workplace culture. New employees wouldn't be walking tightropes without a net.
Right? No one should feel like they're constantly at risk of being dropped on a bad day. Instead, they can focus on learning, growing, and building the skills necessary for a long-term career.
I couldn't agree more. And this transformation has wider implications too. Not only the immediate stress relief, but also long-term loyalty to the company. There's a kind of mutual respect being built.
Exactly. When you empower employees, they tend to invest their whole selves, creatively and emotionally, into their roles. And trust me, this kind of environment breeds innovation.
Right. Innovation happens when people aren't constantly second-guessing themselves. They can finally focus on the cool, creative side of their work.
Yes, and there's another layer here: mental health. Losing sleep over uncertainty, feeling unvalued, it all takes a toll. This change means that mental health gets a boost simply because you know you have some protection.
That's so important. It's not just about being protected from dismissal, but really feeling secure enough to ask questions and share your struggles. It creates a genuine support system.
Exactly. And it redefines the employer-employee relationship. Now it's about partnership rather than a zero-sum game where one misstep can end everything.
I like that a lot. But one thing that I think deserves a bit more discussion is how exactly employers are supposed to ensure they're meeting these new expectations. It sounds great in theory, but what about industries that are notoriously vague about performance reviews?
That's a really good point. The bill, by its nature, pressures employers to adopt more transparent check-in routines, regular performance reviews, clearer definitions of success, and a stronger emphasis on communication. It might challenge some traditional methods, but it's a necessary evolution.
I totally get it. Change is never easy, but it's definitely necessary. Some companies might initially push back, but ultimately, it's about creating a better, more supportive work environment.
Exactly. And if anything, it's an opportunity for companies to demonstrate truly modern leadership, one that cares about the well-being and potential of each individual. It's
Yeah.
about harnessing young talent and letting it flourish.
Absolutely. To anyone starting out, I'd say ask questions, be brave, and demand the clarity you need. You deserve support from day one.
Well said. And to the employers out there, remember, invest in your team from the start, and you'll reap those rewards in loyalty, innovation, and a positive workplace culture.
I think that wraps it up nicely. Thanks for such an engaging discussion on these key changes and for shedding light on what it means for everyone starting their career journey.
Thank you for joining the conversation today. Here's to a future where success is built on fairness and mutual respect from the very beginning.
Thank you. This conversation definitely makes me feel a bit more hopeful about the journey ahead.